I'm 22 female, I have a toddler daughter, and we are homeless. I lost my job and my home at the beginning of the global issue. I have since found alternative employment. We are not on the streets but are living out of a hotel. The problem for me is coming up with a deposit. Pretty much everywhere requires the first 2 months' rent, the last month, and a deposit. That coupled with $1,000 a month for rent in my area, it's proving difficult to come up with a deposit. My sister keeps offering to take my daughter to have a room of her own to stay in, but every single time I have refused. In the hotel, my daughter has a privacy curtain between our beds, so she has usual privacy, and she also doesn't want to move in with her aunt. Recently, my parents found out about my sister's offer and are really angry I won't accept it. They've called child services on me twice, who found no issue with our current situation, since it's not illegal to be homeless with a child. My daughter has everything she needs except for a back garden to run around in, and child services are just fine with that. Sister thinks it's inhumane to force a toddler to share their room. When I had a house, she slept in my bed most nights anyway. She's always asking for 100% reimbursement for the cost of taking my daughter 30 kilometers away, and I still need to pay her weekly expenses for the kids living. It's not helping me save. All it's doing is giving my daughter her own room. My parents still think I should accept my sister's offer to provide my daughter with her own room and think I'm being a major idiot by not doing so. I don't really think I'm being the idiot here, since my daughter also does not want to go. Not the idiot. Your daughter doesn't want to go, so why make this any worse for her? Also, if child services have deemed it okay, and your daughter has everything she needs, other than a garden to run around in, cue a trip down to the local park instead, then it's fine. Out of curiosity, why isn't your sister offering to take you both in? If she has a spare room and she knows you're in a temporary tough situation financially. If there's no reason not to, then I would say the sister is being the real idiot here, not trying to help both of you out to avoid splitting the two of you up. OP wrote that sister thinks it's inhumane for a toddler to share a bed with an adult, her own mother. That's messed up. With her logic, it's more humane to separate a child from their parent. You're providing a place to stay for your daughter. She has everything she needs. There's zero reason to separate her from you. Not the idiot. Your sister and parents are ridiculous. Your child needs to be with you. To put it another way, you are her home. Houses are just buildings. Calling child services but not offering you a room? Is she after your kid? There is nothing wrong with a parent sharing a room with a kid temporarily. Many homeless shelters are set up that way for families. However, if your family wants to help, they should either have you both in so you can save for an apartment or help with the first 2 months' rent. If your sister has an extra room and is so worried about your daughter's welfare, why doesn't she offer to put you both up so your daughter can have a home and her mother? This would actually allow you to save the money needed for a deposit on your own place. At face value, your sister is doing something nice, but I'm not sure how nice it really is to offer only to help your daughter while you're left struggling and to separate a mother and daughter in the process. How much does it really help a child to have a private bedroom but not her mother? I'm going with not the idiot. That instead of bullying you and calling child services, your family could choose to either offer you some real help or leave you alone. Me, female 28, and my husband 26, have been married for 4 months. I returned to work right away after we got back from our honeymoon. My husband thinks I went too soon and wanted to extend our honeymoon or plans for a summer trip for us. Still, since we have to pay rent, electricity, and internet, we needed to earn a living. I work at a restaurant across the street. My husband would call me during work hours and complain about missing me and feeling bored. I get home by 6 p.m., so I understand his feelings since he can't start working until September. He called me at work one time, asking if I could come home to watch a movie together, but I said I was busy. He complained then ended the call, then called me back 30 minutes later, telling me to get home ASAP because he injured his arm and couldn't move it. I freaked out and went home quickly to find it was actually a lie to get me to skip work so I could watch the movie with him. It annoyed me. He did it again days later, saying his car broke down and I needed to come pick him up. Then I found out he lied to me to get me out of work to take me out for lunch. I spoke to him about it and told him to stop doing it, and he apologized and said he won't repeat those shameful acts. 5 days ago, he called me while I was working, telling me to come take him to the hospital because he fell from the stairs and injured his ankle. I hung up on him thinking he was lying. He texted me, but I ignored him since I had a ton of work. 20 minutes later, his brother called angry, saying he just took my husband to the hospital for his broken ankle, and I should have responded to my husband's calls and text. I went to the hospital, and my husband was very upset. I tried to explain I thought he was joking, but he said, "Save it. I don't want to hear about how you thought I was a liar." Then went on about how hurt he was, that I didn't help him in time of need and vulnerability. He told me to go back to work since it was so important and since I didn't want to leave it to help him out. He started a big argument over this. I told him due to his previous lies, how was I supposed to believe him now? He said he didn't even need to call me, and I should have known something was wrong. It's been days, and he's still upset, and asked his sister-in-law to stay to help him out. I felt horrible and like not a supportive wife at all. Am I the idiot here? Edit. My husband suffered from mental health issues in the past year, hence he can't work until September. He's doing a lot better now compared to what he dealt with in the past, but still suffers from several symptoms, one of them being anxiety. He doesn't know anyone in the town we live in, just his brother that he sees once or twice a week. He says he hates staying home by himself and wishes he could have me stay all the time. Not the idiot. Tell him about the boy who cried wolf. The moral of the story is, and I quote, "When a wolf actually does appear, the villagers do not believe the boy's cries for help, and the flock is destroyed." The moral of the story is that liars will not be rewarded. Even if they tell the truth, no one believes them. Right? Who on earth calls their wife to go, "I'm bored, watch a movie with me," when the wife is the only one earning money? Like, I get missing your spouse, and the occasional "I miss you" text or something could be sweet, but this is not that. This man was not ready to be married. Jumping on this to ask a horrible question, was the fall an accident? Do we know the actual extent of this injury? Was this all a long ploy to get her to stay home for a while and have all the attention on him? I know it would be dramatic, but she did mention he's had some mental health issues. Anxiety doesn't make you a manipulative liar. Boo-hoo, he doesn't know anyone and doesn't like to be home alone? If he's in therapy, his therapist should be encouraging him to take steps to make friends and find things to do. He's not getting better. He doesn't want to get better. He wants to drag you down with him. Get out. My brother and I have always had a rocky relationship. Like many siblings, there have always been peaks and valleys and complicated emotions that go with being in close relations and growing up together. My brother and I have a major issue, and by major I don't mean biggest. I mean the one that comes up repeatedly, is kids. I have them, he hates them. Recently we had a conversation where I basically said that I know he doesn't like kids. Still, I need him to at least pretend to tolerate mine because I love him. I want a relationship with him, but I don't think we can have that if he continues acting the way he's acting now. He agreed to at least try with my kids, and I thought it was settled. But now I've been invited to his child-free wedding that's in another country. Because it's in another country, I cannot go because I have young kids, one of whom is an infant, to think about. I don't think he made this choice solely because of me. I don't want to be a Sister Zilla about his wedding, and I would never dream of bringing my kids to his wedding because I respect that it's child-free. But it still kind of feels like a snub. I don't know if I should address it, try and resolve it, or just take the hint and leave him to it. It just sucks because I love my brother. I'm just not feeling the love back. Update. After some time thinking, I decided not to bring my feelings up with my brother. I simply RSVP'd no. I then messaged my brother directly, saying I couldn't make it. I said I can't work it around the kids, but I would send Dad to the wedding with a card and gift for me, assuming I didn't see my brother before then. And we, me, my brother, his wife, my boyfriend, could get dinner or drinks when they're free after the wedding. My brother flipped the heck out, called me ranting and raving about how I couldn't be bothered to come because I valued my kids over him and how he knew I would do this. So this seems to have been less of an invite and more of a test. He then insulted my kids and me before saying that if I won't make the necessary arrangements to come to his wedding, then clearly our relationship didn't have anywhere to go from here. So at least I know where I stand with him now. LOL. What a delusional fool to think that in any circumstance would he ever be a priority over young children who literally need you to survive. This entire issue makes it pretty clear that it's not about your kids, but about the fact that your brother thinks he's the center of the universe and can't fathom why you wouldn't simply get rid of the children to attend his event. Anyone who calls small children names just for existing in his vicinity is an idiot. Likewise, anyone who pitches a fit when people can't afford or take time off for their destination wedding is an idiot. Throw the whole brother out, OP. You'll feel lighter for it. No offense, but your brother is a true idiot. But of course you will put your children before him. Just because he doesn't like children doesn't mean other people share the same ideas. Honestly, if he can't accept your kids in any shape or form, there's no need to keep this relationship. Not worth walking on eggshells for someone because they hate your kids. Your older brother is still a child himself. It's sad because it's usually reinforced with toxic parenting, so I can only imagine how the other family will react. My sister is the same type of grown child and blew up about something similar for my wedding. She wanted to take a man as a date who was not the man she had married 6 months before. My toxic dad took her side, as all I said was that she should come with or without her husband, but not bring a date because I did not want the drama. Well, my family said I was an idiot, surprised their child who always got walked all over finally stood up for himself, and they didn't go. Haven't spoken in 15 years, and I've never been happier with my own family and ones who truly care for me. Blood is thicker than water, but if it's the wrong blood type, it can do more harm than help. I, 32 male, live with my wife, 35. I work in upper office administration, and she works as an adjunct professor, non-tenured university teacher. Like most adults, I get up and work on a predictable schedule 5 days a week. My job involves a large caseload, coordinated between multiple departments, and real-world financial and client outcomes depend on my task. My wife's job is more obscure. She teaches a class of master's students about art history and art theory. Lately, her job has been done entirely from home, online, and will continue that way for the near foreseeable future. We have been coming to heads lately about the division of household labor, childcare, and the stresses of our respective jobs. From what I can tell, her job mainly consists of thinking about things, reading, rearranging passages from books, and speaking about all of this. She also corrects papers from students who reiterate what she has thought and read about. At 9 a.m., my wife is usually on the computer, reading about art. Same for lunch and 3 p.m. Her scheduled hours are less than 25 hours a week to my 40, for which she collects only about 65% of the salary I do. For some reason, these 25 hours seem to make her more like 40 full hours, which she ascribes to the difficulty of her work and the background work involved. She intends to continue her own education to advance her position. Unfortunately, however, there appears to be very little growth in her sector, so this trajectory of unequal responsibility is likely to go on forever. I frequently come home to unfinished dishes, late dinners, and a child who wants my attention. After the stressors of my day and the lack of stressors in my wife's, I think these things should fall within her responsibilities. At the end of the day, her job is more like a hobby, which she's lucky enough to get paid for, and her schedule is very relaxed compared to mine. She insists that she is under enormous pressure due to her work's mentally taxing nature and the high competition in her field, and the household chores should still remain 50-50. I hear endless excuses about why I should be doing more around the house, which adds to my daily stress when I'd like to come home and relax like any working person. Earlier this week, we had yet another argument. I told my wife if she wants to have 50-50 household responsibilities, she needs to get a real job and become a fully functioning member of the workforce like myself or any other normal adult. She has not spoken to me since. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Do you want a partner or a live-in housekeeper/nanny? I'm sure someone so successful as you have never encountered a teacher in their life who was overworked, underpaid, and yet still did their best to help you on your path. And oh, what? You poor baby, your child wants attention after you arrive home? Don't worry, just keep blowing them off and saying that that's their mother's job. They'll lose interest and stop asking eventually. You are the idiot 100%. Just because she works from home doesn't make her job any less legitimate. Looks like you think of yourself as a better person than your wife, which is never good for a relationship. Expect divorce within 5 years. I, nearly adult female, live with my boyfriend's family, and we have a baby together. I moved out because my stepmom was being overbearing and trying to convince me to let her take on an old school grandma role where she watches my baby while my boyfriend and I go to school and work. She said she never got to be a mom, but she could be an awesome full-time grandma. I said no, and she told me I had to let her be grandma because she's the one who can be physically here. I said I didn't technically need to do anything. She sounded like she was looking to make up for the fact that she never got to win the mom title from me, but wanted to be an almost mom with her full-time grandma crap. My dad told me she would be grandma though. I said I would prioritize my baby knowing about my mom, telling them stories and sharing my memories of her when we weren't aware we were having a boy, that my stepmom would not be a priority for me. My stepmom started crying there and then and left. My dad told me it was cruel to make her feel unwanted and unimportant. It's months later and I'm settled at my boyfriend's parents' house. They've been great. We do the majority of child duties, but they help out some. My boyfriend and I go to school remotely for the rest of the year, which works great for us, but my stepmom is still desperate to get time with my baby and still wants to be the full-time grandma. The other week she called and offered to take him from 8 to 7 each day to give me time to focus on other stuff. She told me she has rights as a grandmother. I said she has no rights to my baby, which upset her even more. Am I the idiot? Edit. For context on our bad relationship, when my mom was sick and in the hospital, she insisted on going into her room and asking her to stop visits with me because she didn't think it was healthy for a kid to be visiting a terminally ill parent. She was the reason I wasn't there when my mom died. Not the idiot. You're the parent. You get to decide who your child spends time with, and that includes family. It sounds like you and your boyfriend can handle childcare on your own, even on top of other life stuff, and you're already getting help from his parents. Sucks to suck, but she doesn't have any rights around your child. Yikes! Her saying that she has rights sets off all the alarm bells. There is such a thing as grandparent rights, but what is scaring me is more that she's giving off the vibes of someone who so desperately wanted to be a mom that she could do scary things. Do not let her watch your son unsupervised. Not the idiot. You should probably go no contact with your stepmother and father. It sounds like she's desperate to be a mother. You are very young, and I could see her trying to use that against you by trying to take custody of your child. Allow them to babysit or keep your child for any length of time, and I could see them trying to manipulate the situation to make it appear that you are somehow neglecting your child. They could try to argue that you and your boyfriend don't have enough money or the resources to take care of a child, and that it would be better off with them. I could see them trying to use any mistake you make as a parent against you. Hopefully they wouldn't be successful, but why even expose yourself to that possibility? Your father seems more concerned with your stepmother's feelings, and I find it concerning that she seems so insistent on watching your child for 7 to 8 hours a day.